Sandra Kane, and I am an instructor with Northeast Iowa Community College. I will be teaching HSC 114 medical terminology, and this is a chapter study guide that I've put together that will hopefully help you as we move through the course. What are we going to talk about? Why study? Oh, the eternal question, why study? How to study every week, and then we'll have a quick summary. So why study? Well, for those of you who are in an 8-week course, you're taking 16 weeks of material and you're pressing it down into 8 weeks, which means you are going to have a vast amount of material to learn at the same time. As the saying goes, it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's so much coming at you. How do you get it all down? How do you turn it around, assimilate it, and show your mastery of it? So you're going to be very, very busy. That's why you need to study, is that there's just such information that if you don't study, most of it will go around, above, beside, any other direction other than where it needs to go in your mind. For those in the 16-week course, you are juggling this course as one of many. So you will be learning it not all at the same time, not solely, but you'll have to learn it in between other things. And so it will be demanding for you as well. Studying will help it stick in your mind. This is a foundational course. For anyone who wants to go into healthcare, you've got to be able to speak the language, the native's language, and the native's language in healthcare is medical terminology. And although this may seem like a foreign language, hopefully by the time that you're done, it will be familiar. There will be so many things that you can understand, that you can pick up, even outside of what we learn. Failure to study will show up on your weekly quizzes and final exam, which is a good portion of your final grade. It will follow you, unfortunately, in the sense of if you don't learn it now, you're going to be trying to learn more advanced material at the same time struggling with some of these concepts. So it's best to study now and to master it now so that when you move forward, you're only focused on the new concepts that will be coming at you instead of some of these from your class now. This education is not inexpensive and it takes time. It's an investment. It's an investment that you make in yourself and that others are making in you if they're supporting you. So take advantage of it. Learn, progress. Follow your dreams. How do you study? Oh my, where to begin is probably a good question. So how can you study successfully? Well, you can read your textbook, you can watch the chapter overview videos, you can follow the study guide, complete the weekly assignments, review your areas of weakness before you take the weekly quizzes, please. Take advantage of the Evolve website activities and complete the weekly quizzes. So, excuse me for a moment. Start with read your textbook, especially the preface. The preface has some really good basic information from the author about how she has structured each chapter and what she expects each chapter to teach you and how to teach you and how it will help you learn. So make sure you go through that preface. I realize that that's kind of a boring thing to do, but it will give you a good context for when you move forward, understanding how the chapters are laid out and what materials are there. So let's talk about reading your textbook. How can you read it? How should you read it? How do you want to read it? Well, use some highlighters. If you've got multiple colored highlighters, use those to identify different types of information. Maybe suffixes are one color, maybe prefixes are another, maybe combining vowels are another, maybe root words are another. Maybe you highlight the information that seems new to you. How you highlight is entirely up to you based on your learning preference, but it might be helpful if you own your book to be able to do that to help you. Write down clarifying notes. You can, if the book belongs to you, you want to write them in the margins, go for it. If you are learning something in addition and you want to help it, help you remember it, let's say that you're a kinesthetic learner and movement is your thing, and you figured out a certain song or a certain dance that kind of covers that, or a certain movement. You can jot notes in the sides to help you remember it. You can do that on paper, you can do it electronically, however it works for you. Note the terms that you want to turn into flashcards. If there's a term that you just keep struggling with, put a note to make it to say flashcard, FC. And that way, when you go back through your chapter to make your flashcards, you've kind of already identified what it is that you need to know. Are there any unfamiliar diagnoses or procedures that are mentioned? Take some time and research those on the internet. If you're not sure what something is, Google these days has quite a bit of information on it. It even has videos for those of you who like to see it actually done. And you can go in there and take a look, and it only enhances your learning. So if you have an unfamiliar diagnosis or an unfamiliar procedure that they talk about, Google it, take a look, watch a video, learn about it so that you understand it. If you find yourself skimming the pages, and I'm a great one for this myself, I have to confess, if you find yourself skimming, read aloud. Reading aloud forces you to slow down, and it helps you not only see the information but hear the information, which seems to adhere it to the brain a little bit easier, a little bit more deeply. So if you find yourself reading and you're just kind of flying through, stop and maybe read aloud, or have someone else read aloud to you if that's something that you find helpful. If you like to move as you study, read standing up. Do a dance or stretch after each paragraph or page. Um, make up signs or symbols or movements that have different meanings for you. Use your body. Use movement if that is a way that it helps you be able to study. Fidgeting is not a bad thing if it helps you really be able to focus and do what you need to do. You can have someone read to you and you take notes. That's another one where if you like to listen to learn, someone can read to you and you can take notes. That's a great way to get the information down. And break your reading sessions down into 15 or 20-minute segments. Rather than try and read, if you've got 50 or 75 or 100 or 125 pages to read, don't try and do that in 1 or 2 sessions. You'll never get it all in. Break it down. 10, 15-minute segments, take a break. 10, 15-minute segments, take a break. So that it's giving your mind a chance to get it all in. So that's just some advice. Whatever works for you, go for it. The next part is watching the chapter overview videos. Now, the chapter overview videos I'm going to be inserting as we go along in the course, and they're optional. They are truly optional for you to watch. My hope is that you'll benefit from them, but if that's not something that you want to do, feel free to skip those. But it is another way that you can study and learn the information, because the purpose of the chapter overview videos is to go over the learning objectives for each chapter. What are we learning? Why are we learning it? How are we learning it? We're going to clarify some concepts. If there's something in the book that I think is a little bit obscure, I'm going to go ahead and clarify it and talk through it. I want to draw your attention to the things that you may overlook when you read. Want to make sure that if you are skimming, that you stop and say, oh, she mentioned this. This might be important. I want you to pronounce terms correctly, and I will try and do that as well. I have a bit of an eclectic version of speaking since I grew up in Michigan. I lived in South Florida. I lived in Indiana. I moved to North Carolina and was there for about 13 years. So I have a little bit of Southern sometimes coming out, and then now we're in Iowa. Mostly, hopefully, you'll hear Midwestern pronunciations, which should be fairly standard, but every now and then might be a slight bit off. So just ask for your mercy and your patience with that, and encourage you to practice your pronunciation as well. I want to encourage you in your studies. I want you not to give up. I want you to know that I'm here and that I'm supporting you. I'm cheering you on. I believe that you can do this, and I want to see you get an A in this class, or whatever grade that you're aiming for. And there's nothing wrong with aiming for a C. Sometimes that's the way it is in our lives. And I want you to achieve what you want to achieve and what you can achieve. So be inspired, be encouraged, and be excited, because some of this, we can make this information fun and interesting to some degree, and we definitely want to do that. And I want to build our relationship, because we don't see each other in person, and it's hard when you're dealing with someone electronically and you don't see a face, or you don't see body language, you don't see or hear inflections of voice, those types of things. It can come across very differently. And so through videos, it's one chance I have to let you get to know me, and through your discussions, and if you Zoom with me, I have a chance to get to know you as well. So follow the study guide. That is one of the best pieces of advice I can give you. The book has a study guide on page 6, and it's useful for all chapters. Break the terms down, review the meaning of each part. Do the exercises in the textbook and check your answers. Practice your pronunciations. You can get audio pronunciations on the Evolve website. You can do review sheets in the textbook and check your answers. You can make flashcards and practice with them. You can go to the Evolve website. They have additional exercises, games, and activities, images, all sorts of stuff. So there's plenty, in case you're wondering, there's plenty of opportunity for you to find whatever suits you best and your study style, your learning style best. So how do you break terms down? That's a good question. It's back to front, break it down. It almost sounds like a song chorus, and I'll leave you to make up the song. But back to front, break it down. Is there a suffix? What does it mean? Is there a combining vowel? What is the root, and what does it mean? Is there a prefix? What does it mean? Put it all together again. So let's go through a couple of examples. On the right-hand side of this slide, you see epigastric. Epi is the prefix, gaster is the root, ic is the suffix. Epigastric, it means upon, above, that's epi. Gaster is stomach, and ic is pertaining to. So, okay, we've broken it down, back to front, pertaining to, above the stomach. Epigastric is pertaining to, above the stomach. So if somebody talks to you that they're having epigastric pain, it is pain that is pertaining to above the stomach. So there you have it. The next one, gastroscopy. Gastroscopy. The root word is gaster. The combining vowel is the O. The suffix is scopy. We know from above that gaster is stomach. Scopy is the process of visually examining. So this one's going to be a visual examination of the stomach is a gastroscopy. Gastroscopy. That's a visual examination of the stomach. Oops, I'm sorry, I went too fast, didn't I? Flying through, trying to get this done for you. Gastroenterology. This one's longer, and it has 2 combining vowels, and it has 2 roots and 1 suffix. Gastroenterology. Gastro is stomach. O is the combining vowel. Enter is intestines. O again is the combining vowel. Logi or however you want to pronounce that, is the suffix. It's process of study. So gastroenterology is the study of the stomach and intestines. I hope that makes sense. But this is how you break your terms down. You use your slash marks, and you go through and you figure out what's a prefix, what's a root, what's a suffix, what's a combining vowel, to be able to figure it out. And that's how you put it together. So gastroenterology is the study of stomach and intestines. So if you hear of a physician of gastroenterology, he or she is interested in the study of the stomach and intestines. Next one, exercises and review sheets. Each chapter has several exercises and review sheets you can do, and the directions will tell you where to go to get the answers. So why does all this even matter? Why do we even try to have correct pronunciation, correct spelling, correct understanding of medical terminology? You know, You understand why it's important to study, but why does it matter if you spell it correctly? Why does it matter if you pronounce it correctly? Well, in our world, perception is reality, unfortunately. And how you communicate your knowledge of medical terminology is how other people perceive you. Whether you're serious about it, whether you have mastered the basics, whether you can speak the language. Um, Unfortunately, right or wrong, the perception of our understanding is based on our mastery of speaking, spelling, and translations. And so when you use proper pronunciation, spelling, and understanding of medical terminology, others look at you with respect. They feel like you're serious. They can trust you that you know the details you need to know to be a part of their world. When you use inaccurate pronunciation, spelling, or you don't correctly understand medical terminology, others kind of look at you as if, is this person, are they just dabbling in medicine? Do they really know? Did they get a decent education? Is this somebody who I can trust? Because medical errors can happen from misspellings. Medical errors can happen from mispronunciations, and it's very serious. So it's important for us to be accurate in how we speak, how we spell, and how we understand, translate, communicate. So just keep that in mind, okay? Flashcards. Oh, for those of you who have used flashcards in the past, pull out those blank index cards and get busy. Or you can use small pieces of paper that you've cut up to make your own flashcards. You can purchase medical terminology flashcards from the NICC bookstore. There are also apps. I was online looking the other day, and there's apps for learning medical terminology that you can put on your phone, your tablet, your computer that work the same way. Games, that sort of thing. So whatever is your learning preference or your learning style, think about that. There are so many options out there now to be able to learn this. You don't have to be stuck with index cards if that's not your thing. The Evolve website activities, there is going to be a link posted under contents, under course materials for the Evolve website. It is a general student code that you can use to get in to all of that. So be looking for that once Brightspace opens, and you'll have access to be able to go out and figure out how that works. You need to make sure you complete your weekly assignments. These are sort of quizzes, that are designed to test your knowledge in a safe environment before you take the real quizzes. They are timed, but there's no mandated time limit, so you can take your time completing them, but it helps you understand how long is it really taking you to complete them and how much quicker you're going to have to be when you move forward in your regular tests. Grading is not based on right or wrong answers. So if you bomb a weekly assignment, it is okay. It is okay. What I am looking for is that you did one attempt, one complete attempt. That tells me that you had the opportunity to identify your areas of weakness and be able to study for the weekly quiz. And that's what I'm looking for. So there are 2 attempts offered. The grading is based on completion of one of those attempts, and it's just the 30 points for completion. It's not based on how many you got right or wrong or anything like that. It's 0 points because you didn't do it, or 30 points because you did. And then again, it's not timed, but it is timed in the sense of it'll tell you how much time it took you, but it will not cut you off if you run over the estimated time limit. So just give you that information. Review your areas of weakness. After you've worked through those weekly assignments in Brightspace, what did you hesitate over versus what came easily to you? If something came easily to you, you know it. If you had to hesitate and really think about it, or you had to pull your book over and take a look at it to look it up, or you had to pull through your flashcards, make a note. That's something you need to learn. That's something that hasn't quite stuck yet. What did you get wrong versus what did you get right? If you got something wrong, okay, what did you get wrong? And that's something you might need to learn. What frustrated you? If you were moving through there and you felt frustrated, what frustrated you? If you were torn between two answers, maybe for multiple choice, or maybe you were working on matching and you felt like you just couldn't get quite to where you needed to be. Those are things to add to your study list. What surprised you? Were there any questions on the weekly assignment that caught you by surprise? I wasn't expecting that. Those are things that you'll want to study. So focus on studying those before you take the weekly quiz. And that leads us to the weekly quiz. And the weekly quiz is graded. It is one attempt. It is timed. And it is graded based on right and wrong answers. So that one is where it really will count and is the real assessment of your learning. And then when you get done with that, take a look at what you got wrong, just so that it goes in your mind that, oh, the right answer for this really was. And regardless of how you did, be encouraged. It's one more exam that's behind you. So be happy about that. Know that you made it through. And then dive into whatever's next. Recommit yourself. I'm going to do better next time. I can study more. I can do other options. So just think about it. Don't, even if you don't do well on a weekly quiz, it helps you know, ooh, here's my weaknesses, and this is an opportunity I can work on them before the final. Before the final. So in summary, you can do this. I know you can do this. Your learning, it will be as interesting and fun as you choose to make it. If you think this is just dry and boring and I'm just going to do the bare minimums to get through, it's going to be torture. I can tell you that. Your attitude determines so much in life, and your attitude determines how well you will do in this course. If you believe you can do it and you do your best to make it fun when you can, it will be, and it will be a course that is a blessing to you as you move on in your career. Play to all your learning strengths. Most of us have multiple learning strengths. We don't just have one. If you have just one, great, go with it. But if you have multiple, use those. So if you're a visual learner, use sight activities. If you're an auditory learner, use hearing activities. If you're a kinesthetic learner, get that movement going. If you're a logical learner, create equations. If you think mathematically, create equations in your mind. This prefix plus this root word plus this suffix equals. So if you're an equation person, use that skill. If you're a social learner and you learn best with other people, interacting with them, get them involved. Surely you have classmates, friends, family, neighbors, somebody who is willing to walk this journey with you. They'll benefit from the knowledge, and you will have fun as you do it. If you're a solitary learner, I happen to be an introvert by nature, and I prefer to learn alone. And if that's your case too, then have that quiet time, shut everything out, and really focus and learn on your own. You can use your own flashcards. You can do your own research on the computer. It doesn't have to involve other people if that's not how you best learn. So play to your strengths. Whatever works best for you, use it, try it, and see how it goes. And if you need help, do not hesitate to reach out. There are no stupid questions except the ones that never get asked. How do we learn except by asking questions? There is no wrong question. So ask it. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. Just ask your question. It's okay. It's really okay. So that's the end of this video about studying. I've given you everything I could possibly think of for you to do well. And now it's going to be up to you. And I believe you can do it. So get ready, set, go.